While there are some more decisive games which we haven't covered yet from the candidates, it really does have a very high percentage, in my view, of decisive games, considering this is the elite players of the world. This game, Mamedyarov against Grischuk. By the way, I put photos a bit larger than usual. I have experimented in the past photos, but because if you check things like the Master Game series, which was a great series on British TV, they did put video sort of images of video footage of the players a bit like this, that sort of size. So let me see, you know, if you give me any comments how you like this effect. So Mamedyarov playing white, d4. We have Grischuk playing knight f6. Knight f3, very solid move, g6. So Mamedyarov is playing his King's Indian, Grischuk is playing his King's Indian setup at the moment. g3, so we have a sort of fianchetto King's Indian, if white later plays c4 especially. Bishop g2, but at the moment, now we're kind of, actually we're technically in, apparently Neo-Grunfeld territory, so d5, it's changed now. If black had played d6, then maybe we could have got the King's Indian. So c4, d takes c4, knight a3. This is a very trodden path actually, c3. Black tries to fracture white's pawns here with that move c3. B takes and now hits the center, so Grunfeld style, trying to put pressure on d4. Now rook e1, this is slightly unusual. More usual apparently is e3, which seems logical enough. Okay, it blocks in this bishop, but it keeps that center pretty solid. Knight c6, queen e2 has been seen a lot. But here, rook e1, knight c6, bishop b2, knight d5, queen c2, c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight f6, knight takes c6, b takes c6. And here actually white doesn't take on c6. You might think, well, that's tempting. I think there's a lot of pressure and compensation after bishop takes c6. If we look at this, there's immediately, well, the rook b8 looking at b2, and there's, yeah, maybe it's not what white wants here. There's a lot of pressure. So we have actually c4. Bishop f5, queen c1. Now queen c7 protecting that pawn. Knight c2. Rook ab8. Bishop c3. So getting the bishop out of the firing line here of the exposure of the rook. Bishop takes c2, voluntarily giving up the light square bishop. And you might ask why. So black is wanting also to swap off the bishops here potentially. h4, c5. We have potentially a bishop versus knight scenario once these bishops are swapped off. And in fact, we get that now. Bishop takes, queen takes, knight f6, bishop f3, as though maybe in the future h5 is handy. That's stopped. Rook ab1, so a couple of rooks come off. Rook b8, rook b5. So white would like to get a 2-to-1 pawn majority with this move if black took. Knight e8. We have queen e3 putting pressure on c5 now. Now black does take on b5, c takes, knight d6, a4, c4, so black has got a c-pawn, a potentially dangerous c-pawn, king g2, c3, bishop c6, interrupting the queen from the protection of the c-pawn. The queen comes to protect via a5, queen c5, so this c-pawn is really being kept in check, so to speak. Now here, if queen takes a4, this variation, swapping off the pawns there with knight takes b5, there's queen c5, a6, queen takes e7, so white would have a small edge there. Black doesn't play that. Black plays a6. We have e4, a takes, king h7, e5, and apparently here, knight f5 should be good enough for equality here. For example, bishop b7, e6, yeah, because e7 might be, well, no, it's protected by the knight at the moment. Let's run with this. e6, bishop f3, knight h6, bishop e4. This kind of sequence, it seems about equal. so both sides shouldn't be able to make progress there. But here actually knight takes b5 was played, and this gives white a very powerful shot in this position, which actually secures a big advantage. Can you see what white plays in this position? If I give you 5 seconds to pause the video, white to play. So black seems to be trying to lure, trying to play for c2 tactically. But guess what? White plays. Okay. He actually ignores this knight. He plays actually e6. This is a really powerful move. On taking I think c2, and that's a nasty pin. So for example, if takes, then this looks fine. So this looks, yeah, much more dangerous and probably unexpected, e6. So one idea is f takes, we have this nasty check, and then actually check, and the bishop can come and help the queen checkmate potentially, or do a lot of damage. So for example like this, picking up h5 and then picking up the knight, a lot of damage. So this is a really dangerous move. Black plays queen a3 as though, you know, to protect e7. This knight is actually taken here, c2, and it looks as though this pawn's queening, right? E takes f7, threatening to queen, and here it looks as though black's doing okay, right? King g7, what could possibly go wrong with this? Isn't black just queening? White to play here, so white must have foreseen this possibility, and a really fantastically powerful move is played in this position. If I give you 5 seconds to pause the video, what would you play with white? Right, if you think about trying to get your best resources around the squares of the opponent's king, you might arrive at this move. Also bishop e4, so it's actually attacking this and also unveiling the possibility of queen e8. So unless black wants to lose his pawn, he actually allowed queen e8. If he takes here and loses his pawn, white has a big advantage, as you might expect, bishop up. So queens, but now queen e8, and there's a mammoth threat of f8 queening. The game actually ended here because there's another clever little trick here. If black moves the pawn either e6 or e5 to stop the queening, guess what white plays in this position? If I give you 5 seconds here, white to play. Okay, very, very forcing, powerful move. f8 check is played anyway, because after queen takes, we have, can you spot it? Queen takes g6 check, and then mate, unfortunately, even though black's a queen up, it's getting mated there. So I'll take you back to the final position. Well, okay, I hope you enjoyed this game. Maybe with the big player photos on the left, give me some comments on that. It's just an experimental template. Okay, comments, questions, likes, shares appreciated. Thanks very much.